Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to work on a page in my Traveler's Notebook. This is the last page from my July Traveler's Notebook. So now I'm totally caught up. Next week I'll be able to do a flip through of the last 4 months worth of Traveler's Notebooks for you, but this is my last spread that I'm going to do today. I am using the Retro mini kit from Citrus Twist. I love this. It's kind of cute and a little bit quirky. As always, there's a ton of stuff in here, so I'm going to spend a lot of time kind of whittling that down to go into my spread. But the other thing that I did go and grab, just because like it's Citrus Twist's 10-year anniversary or 10-year birthday, I decided to kind of rummage through some of my more vintage stamp sets to find a coffee one. I ended up using two actually, but it was fun going back through some of those older stamp sets. And both of them are still available from Citrus Twist. I've just checked. So the little one that I've just showed you is called Make It a Venti, and the other one I use is going to be called the Daily Grind. I will link both of them in the description box below because I know you love coffee stamps as much as I do. So I went through that huge pile of die cuts, and in the end I decided to kind of like pick a theme based on color. So not just based on coffee. There are a few die cuts in there and a few kind of stickers that I'll use that are a little bit coffee themed. This page isn't strictly about coffee because it's about a coffee scented candle. So it wasn't all just coffee stickers that I used. There is that kind of theme going on. But mostly I was picking out, I love this kind of muted purple color, this sort of lavender. I love it. So I'm kind of going with that, mixing in a few other colors to kind of stop it being too monochrome. So I've got a little bit of kind of neutrals, some grays, and some kind of beigey colors, as well as a few of the like softer bits of teal. Like there's a really bright teal in this collection, and I'm kind of going for more of the softer look. Now here you'll see me pull out the two stamp sets. I really want to use the purple puffy sticker word that says spirit, and I wanted to have some sort of like coffee spirit as my title. The littlest stamp set that I used didn't really have one that was big enough to make it seem like it was the title, and so I went back and I pulled out Daily Grind. So I'm gonna stamp Daily Grind Spirit as my title. But you'll see what I've done there. I reprinted a photo, and if you know me, you know I don't reprint photos, I just make it work. But I really wanted this Daily Grind to be stamped onto the photo with the puffy sticker underneath. So that's what I did. I measured the stamp, I reprinted the photo. I'll use that little photo somewhere else. I get asked all the time like how I choose which photos go where, and honestly I have zero preference. Like I'm not a massive photo taker, so I don't have like hundreds and hundreds to choose from. Most of my photos go into my Project Life album, but I really have absolutely no worries if I then use that photo again in a Traveler's Notebook or a Life Crafted album as well. It really doesn't bother me if it's in the same place. It's either because I'm like telling a longer story that doesn't get done in my Project Life album, it might suit better to a Traveler's Notebook, or it's just because I like the photo and maybe want to use it in a bit more of a decorative way in a Traveler's Notebook as opposed to what happens in Project Life. So my main sort of advice for picking photos and where they go is don't sweat it too much. Like it really doesn't matter if it goes in the same place twice. So you can see me here, I am just jigsaw puzzling again, trying to be a bit more specific this time. You may be wondering why I'm not kind of like sticking stuff down yet, because again, if you know me, I don't do a whole lot of planning in these kind of things. I just kind of start sticking, but the reason that I'm not sticking anything down is because I want to do some kind of repeat stamping in the background. I haven't printed out any of the digitals from this collection yet. I just got the kit and was so excited I wanted to make something, so I'm going to make my own sort of pattern in the background, and I'm going to do it with the little coffee cup stamp that was on that Venti stamp set. This was such a cute little set. It's got the wee cup. There is an extra stamp so you can fill in the coffee piece, and there's also a really cute face, so you can give your coffee cup a little face if you want to. I'm just sticking with one stamp and one color I can't remember the name of the color. Lulu Lavender. This is Memento Lulu Lavender. The ink pad is a little bit dry, to be honest, but I like the kind of very light look that it has. I'm going to save you watching me stamp all of this because you can see I'm kind of random repeating it. At this point, my idea is just to kind of have the stamping in behind my cluster or my jigsaw puzzle of die cut pieces and kind of have them interspersed, like fading out towards the edges of the page, as you can see here. I do end up changing that just a little bit because I cover up a considerable amount of the stamping, and so I end up having to add in a few later on, and it makes no sense where I add them in, so you'll see how I fix the stamping later. So now I've got my background like pretty much stamped. I can actually start committing to some of these. I've got a little bit more stamping to do just because now that I've got those pieces placed on there, I want to add a little more top and bottom so it's a bit more obvious that the stamps are kind of like cascading out from the middle of the page. And now I can go ahead and start sticking things down. So this is the last page I have to do in this notebook, but it is actually the center spread of the notebook. I don't work chronologically in these notebooks. They really just kind of highlights from the month. So I always kind of tend to leave the center spread till last, and I work sort of front to the middle and then back to the middle, just because it's easier, especially if I'm filming for you guys. So hence why I'm saying it's the last one, but it is the middle of the notebook. So there is a line of stitching in there. I never worry about it. I stitch my notebooks myself. I make all of my notebooks myself. I stitch them in white basically so that the thread kind of disappears when you're doing a page like this. So I've added my puffy sticker title, and I'm so pleased that I like reprinted that photo because I love how this worked out. That was exactly how I wanted it to be. The daily grind stands out way more than it did, and this is where I decide to start adding some extra stamping. So basically what I'm going to do is leave the bottom alone, and I'm just going to fill in the top portion of this page. My original kind of idea or sketch for the page was to have this real heavy center band through the middle filled with embellishments of my photos and journaling and title. That ended up being a whole lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, so it didn't really make sense to have it as like a band through the middle anymore. So because it's a little bit larger and it has moved a little bit towards the top of the page, I just filled in the top there with some extra stamps. And when I say repeat stamping, it's not particularly neat. You can see there were a couple of mistakes. I'm just shifting things around and I'm going to cover them up. So the die cuts cover up that kind of messy stamping, but fill up the top of the page so it is actually kind of waterfalling from the top to the bottom now. I will add a couple of extra stamps in as I go because there's kind of a hole in the middle at the bottom there, but it's pretty much how it's going to be. Now I've got all my pieces laid out and I'm going to stick them all down. I'm just going to speed through this a little bit so you don't have to watch all of it. And now that I've got those main die cut pieces adhered down, I'm going to start filling in some of these gaps. I've got a few little puffy stickers that I want to use, but there's also some really cute chipboard stickers on here that work perfectly with my theme and my color scheme, so I had to get them in here. Another little circle just to kind of vibe with that purple circle at the top, otherwise it's the only circle that's in there, so I am going to add a couple of other kind of shapes. Everything else is very gritty, and then I've got this, you know, like one scalloped circle at the top, so I want to add in a couple of extra kind of shapes just to make sure that it doesn't look too out of place. I'm going to add one of those really cute puffy stickers. I mean, there are plenty of coffee ones on there that I could add, but I'm going to save them. I'm not hoarding them. I'm definitely not hoarding them. I'm going to save them for later. And then I'm just going to fill in a few of the gaps or the sort of visual gaps in here with some of these little star puffy stickers on that word sheet. This works for two purposes because I get my little purple filler pieces in there, but also I never really use stars, so this is kind of a good excuse to use a few of them. I'm going to cluster them, but just kind of visually draw things together. So where there's kind of odd gaps, I'm filling in colors. So there's a gray, a purple, and a teal that I'm using just to kind of fill things in. And then I also went and typed my journaling. I had forgotten about that piece there, which was where I decided that it was a little bit obvious that there were still some gaps. So I didn't print it. I typed my journaling onto vellum and then just ran that through my Xyron machine, stuck it underneath my title, and then I went back to my little venti stamp set, and there's 3 tiny little coffee themed tiny word stamps in here. I'm going to stamp them in a slightly darker lavender. That one's Sugared Lavender by Catherine Pooler. It's kind of perfect for that color scheme. Just fill in a few little extra gaps in there. I added a few extra coffee cups and called this page done. I mean, you know I love it because it's coffee themed, but the purple, this kit, it's just so cute. I love it. Can't wait to use it anymore. I will leave the link down below if you want to grab one for yourself. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.